Welcome back to the Bandwich Tapes. I'm Brad Williams. My guest today is singer-songwriter Tenille Townes. And this is one of those conversations that really gets to the heart of what makes a great artist so compelling. Tenille is someone whose voice, songs, and performances carry a real emotional truth. And that authenticity runs through every part of this record. When we recorded this conversation, her album The Acrobat had not been released yet. Now it's officially out in the world, available to hear, and it's absolutely wonderful. In this episode, we talk about what it meant for her to step away from the major label system, make a record at home, and find her way back to herself creatively. We also dig into one of the album's most powerful songs, Enabling, and talk about the complicated mix of love, boundaries, and self-awareness that lives inside it. Along the way, we get into her roots in Alberta, the story of how she ended up singing with Bryan Adams, and the incredible work she's done through Big Hearts for Big Kids. Here's my conversation with Tenille Townes.
I've been waking up from a long daydream. Still don't know what it all means. Some say love is a gold mine. I think love is a tambourine that we played out of time, like a stolen rhyme, making it up as we go along. This ain't no ordinary love song.
Tenille, it is a pleasure to welcome you to the podcast. How are you today?
I'm good. It's so wonderful to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been looking forward to chatting with you and just to tell you how much of a fan I am of your writing and your singing and just all the things you do.
Thank you for that. That really means a lot. I appreciate you saying that.
Yeah, as I was preparing for our conversation and just scribbling down some notes, the first thing that I wrote was, when you sing, I believe you. And I think that
come on.
I think and as someone who sings, I think ultimately that's our goal, right? Is that when we sing, we just want people to believe what we're singing and that we believe what we're singing, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, and that's that's the thing about the truth. It's like you can feel when it is that, it's like that is something I enjoy being able to like really authentically believe in, and that's my greatest hope, that people can kind of hear that through that. So I love hearing that from your perspective as a singer too. That's awesome.
Yeah, and I think as musicians we can sense authenticity. I think all audiences can, but I think musicians can really pick up on it. And yeah, I believe you when that you're singing what you believe, and that you're standing behind what you've written or what someone else has written. So yeah, I'm a big fan of that.
Thank you. I'm really soaking that in. I genuinely appreciate that a lot. That's like the greatest compliment, honestly. Thank you.
Absolutely. As we're recording this, we're a little bit more than a month away of a release of your new album. Tell me about that. Tell me about how you're feeling about that.
Oh, I'm so nervous, but I'm so excited. I really feel like I'm thrilled for people to have these songs and to have this collection of music that I made from a really interesting place in my life. I recorded this album actually sitting right here in my little music room at home. And it was kind of like a return to self moment. I felt kind of confused in the departure from the major label system, and like very like production wise was uncertain of how I wanted things to feel in this next chapter of music. And so I initially was just working on guitar vocals of songs that I loved, to be able to just have the songs stand on their own 2 feet and then be able to take them into a studio somewhere and make a record. But I started working on these guitar vocals and I was like, wait a second, I actually really love how some of these songs feel in this place. And it turns out that was like the most healing journey of like kind of finding my voice again, coming out of that whole situation. And so when I finished these songs, I was like, what an exhale. It just felt like, oh yeah, this is like, I had to sort of tune out all the noise around me to kind of get back to the truth underneath. And this record sounds like that to me. And so I'm really excited to be able to share this music.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear it. And what I've heard so far is fantastic. And I certainly want to dig in and chat about that in a little bit. I do want to ask, I know this is, you're releasing this independently, right?
Yeah.
How does that feel? Does it feel different than other releases?
It does. I kind of feel this return to that feisty spirit that I had when I first got to Nashville. Like, I moved 47 hours away from my hometown and like showed up just with this head full of dreams and like everything to prove and nothing to lose. And it was just like the joy of music was sort of at the core of the engine. And like so much of the expectation was sort of just to like get this team of people believing, get the deal, get the thing. And then all of a sudden it's like that becomes a new starting line. And I hadn't really dreamt past that part necessarily. So I'm so grateful for that whole adventure. I met so many wonderful people. We had such a good run. And when it came time to kind of part ways and do my own thing again, I got really lost for a while and kind of drowning in this feeling of fear of like what's next and like kind of feeling like a failure of sorts and just going, how do I get my footing again? And like the other side of that stretch, I'm starting to feel the freedom feeling of that now. And it feels so good to kind of be returning to that perspective of how I felt when I first got to town. And so there's like an ownership, there's a liberating, like, I don't know, just standing on my own 2 feet again feeling. It's like creative autonomy. It's all of those things that are kind of fire in the engine. And honestly, feeling the support of the community of people who have kind of come with me through that whole process and like heard the collection of music that I worked on for all those years and have just been this incredibly supportive community. And it's like, this record feels like a leap into this unknown or something, and it's really scary. There's no safety net on this, but knowing that these people are there, it's like their arms are wide open. I can feel it. Like, we launched this whole album with, I just put out this idea of launching it with a vinyl. I hadn't even said what the name of the record was, and I just was like, I'm doing this on my own. This is my first independent record release. If you want to be a part of supporting it, here's the link. And like, I had ordered 300 of them, and I felt like I was taking this giant leap of faith and was so scared I was going to get stuck with a bunch of these. And they completely blew past all my expectations of that. And we had like in the weekend we sold 1,000. I had to call the places and order more. I couldn't believe that that's how that happened. And so moving into that just gave me such a wind in my sails of feeling like I might have made this record on my own, but I feel so far from alone in this process right now.
Oh, it's so beautiful. I'm just so happy for you.
Thank you.
And that, because it's so, I think that being a musician, a songwriter, it requires a certain level of vulnerability
Yeah.
and insecurity can certainly fuel that. And when you're going out on a limb like that or venturing off in this new territory, it can be scary as hell.
It really
right?
can. Yeah, that's so real.
and I just applaud you for just having the courage to do it.
Thank
And I'm just so excited that everyone is behind you is excited about it. It's amazing.
Thank you for saying that. I'm just honestly overwhelmed. It's just like whatever happens beyond this point, feeling the support of everybody on the front end and like just feeling this piece of doing things on my own terms again has been such a gift with this record.
Yeah. I do want to ask you about, or I guess ask you / tell you my perspective about the song Enabling, which is going to be on the new album. I will tell you that I'm about 18 months sober.
Wow.
So
that's amazing.
Yeah. So it's so listening to that song, I felt like my wife could have written that song.
Wow.
And there are so many lines in that song that I could hear her say. And it was just, I mean, I've listened to it many times before speaking today, and it's a powerful, powerful song. I'd love to just hear a little bit about your journey of writing that song.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that about that song and like what an amazing journey for you to like see the perspective of that in her eyes like that. That's so amazing to me. I wrote this song after someone that I loved came up to me in a parking lot with an attempted apology that had been a long line of those. And something hit me differently in that moment. Like, I just remember watching him literally kick in the gravel, and it was almost like one of those things where, you float outside of your body, and it's like you're watching yourself sometimes. And I had this moment of like, it was very out of body, and I was like observing the scene. And I was like, dang, you really do this a lot. Like, because I could hear myself responding with, it's okay, don't worry about it, it's all good, and like just not having any boundaries for myself in that, and continuing to kind of give more pieces of myself away in that process and that relationship. And I just was like, okay, I don't think this is how I want to do this. And so this song was me sort of processing what it would be like to just tell the truth about it and like actually set some boundaries for myself, which is really scary to do, especially when you just love someone so much and you just want the best in all directions. And it's really hard to kind of draw that line. And I realize this song certainly has a couple different characters in mind when I sing it, and I think about that, but it's more about the pattern of my own habits and my own self-abandonment that I wanted to talk about with this song. And that's something I can draw all the way back to childhood, of ways that I just think I was kind of hardwired to always make sure everybody's okay in the room. And like, that's like my, I don't know, part of my personality is kind of being that peacekeeper. And so this song was, and that has a fine line between keeping the peace and people pleasing. And that's sort of where I think I drifted and lost my way in my career too, was kind of like suspending more of those pieces of myself. So this song was really a wake up call in a lot of different directions for me.
Yeah. I'm the child of an alcoholic father, and I was listening to it and just thinking about these Saturday and Sunday mornings that I would be awake downstairs while my wife would be upstairs sleeping, and just thinking to myself, I dread to find out what kind of a jerk I was last night because I was drinking. And I would spend that time. But then listening to your song did something different for me, in that I thought, I can't believe that I just expected her to be okay with that. And what a rotten thing for me to do. It's just fantastic. I can't wait for everyone to listen to it. It's amazing.
Thank you for saying that, and for having that perspective. It's really amazing, honestly.
I knew you'd say you're sorry when you sobered up. Doesn't mean it didn't happen just 'cause you were drunk. You're kicking gravel with your shoes. You keep staring at the ground like you're looking for the words down there to dig you out. You get braver in a second. Look straight in my eyes. Find both hurt and forgiveness, and they're cutting like a knife. 'Cause I know that you know better, and I know you love me, but choosing love ain't love unless the choosing's free. Here I go, saving the day again, and I know that's what they call enabling. My hero complex is shaking, 'cause I can't keep waiting for you to start saving yourself. You got a ghost in your past that looks a lot like you're dead, and he's an arrow to the target only you can understand. You got more than your temper and your pocket watch from him, but the difference is that you know how to let the sun back in. I keep trying to be patient, 'cause I know your heart is good. I've seen it with my own eyes, wouldn't change it if I could. It doesn't mean it doesn't hurt when you walk right over me. Choosing love ain't love unless the choosing is free. Here I go, saving the day again, and I know that's what they call enabling. My hero complex is shaking, 'cause I can't keep waiting for you to start saving yourself. No.
I don't know. Addiction is such a all-consuming. It's like there's the addiction and there's the person, and it's like they're actually two, in my mind, separate things. It's really hard to like be there and love the person and try to like be okay with the separation of that when there's nothing separated about it at all. So it's really hard.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. So just fantastic. Fantastic song, and you certainly capture it with the lyric, but then the performance of it as well is just it's outstanding.
Thank you.
Yeah.
A lot of emotion in that one.
Do you find that do you bring the same self to writing when you're writing alone versus when you're collaborating with someone else?
I think the core of that, like, kind of creative, I don't know, it's almost like picturing like a river to me. It's like the tap or like it's always running. It's like that's the same.
Mm-hmm.
But it's interesting because sometimes co-writing can help me find truths in myself that I've tucked in places I've forgotten about. And it's like someone else's conversation or their experience or the way they're mirroring it back. I can kind of be like, oh, yeah, wow, I just found like a new piece of my truth in that. And that's really helpful in like almost like an emotional excavation way. But there's also something where I feel like I can draw into a different well of truth when I'm completely on my own because there's no fear of what someone else might think about what I'm about to say. And so a lot of ideas or concepts kind of start that way for me, where I have to kind of start something in that unfiltered way. And occasionally I'll just leave it and be like, I think I need someone to help me dig the shovel in places to bring this one to life. And then there's some that I just know I need to keep running down that road on my own. So it's the song always knows, even when I don't. So I try to trust that most of the time.
Yeah. Are there a lot of co-writes on this new album, or is most of it stuff that you wrote?
There's a couple of songs that I wrote on my own. Enabling is one of them. There's another song called A Little More Love that was also one of those that I just kind of sat down and was feeling heavy-hearted about the world and just had things I wanted to say. And so I just kind of held on to the string as that one found its way out. But the rest of these songs are ones that were co-written. And some of them are newer. A few of them are very recent from this kind of piece of the like exhale of what this record has kind of like healed me through. And then some of them come from the middle of that process that I wrote a while ago. And some of them come from the beginning, which was quite a while ago, but they were songs that just didn't make sense in the realm of what I was releasing at the time. And I kind of just always tucked them away knowing they'd raise their hand when it was time. And I'm really glad some of those songs have found their way on this project because they feel like they speak into the right pieces of that truth. So some of these songs have been around a while.
That's great.
Yeah.
Do you feel freer creatively now than you did like 5 years ago? Or do you feel like when you talk about that exhale, do you feel like you're in a more creative place than maybe you were, or just a different season, or maybe even a different perspective on things?
All of those things. Yeah. I do feel more freedom. I think I feel more permission in a couple different directions. One, to let things be a little bit messier. And this record was a really interesting practice of that because I don't really know how to tune vocals. So none of these got tuned. They just are raw and how they are because because of my limitations. I don't actually know how to engineer and do that. So I was just kind of working within the confines of my own creative expression for this. And they're very sparse. They're very much just me picking up these instruments and playing them as they are. And so I had more of like this acceptance to just let things be a little more imperfect. So there's that edge of the freedom. And then there's also an angle to me of, I think a lot of the personal work that I've done in the past couple of years in therapy and in processing and journaling and all the things has kind of brought me to this place of sort of reclaiming my identity just as a human, not like what I do as an artist equals who I am. And like for years, that was so enmeshed. It was just like not something that I could ever separate out. And I think there's been a freedom that's come from me learning how to go, no, I'm just like, I love to write songs. I love to record them. I love to perform for people, but that is not who I am at my core. Like I am a human being who is learning and growing and evolving and loving and experiencing life. And like separating those two things really helped me a lot in the freedom of this record.
That's great. And it's, boy, that's like it could be a lifelong journey, right?
Yeah.
To figure out where to navigate in those two worlds and find the appropriate locations that they can overlap.
Exactly. I think that's going to be a continual ebb and flow. But I feel grateful for this sense of peace that I have right now that's kind of like, it's in a better place. And it was pretty tumultuous for a few years, so it feels good. We're in a better place. It's good.
Yeah. I understand. I have a bit of a love-hate relationship with music sometimes as a performer, and that sometimes I'm like, I really wish that I did something else. Like, I wish that I had been born with the desire to do something else. But then when that little thing goes away, I'm like, there's nothing in the world that I would rather do than this. I mean, it's everything. So I get it.
I'm glad you do, and I relate to that a lot. It's like there's a lot of noise in music. It's really hard to kind of lose track of like the joy of it that I think brought us, like, sort of like grabs a hold of your, I don't know, soul. And I think that's probably in any creative pursuit. It's like there's just this thing that kind of grabs onto you in whatever format of your dream that is, whether it's with carpentry or painting or writing novels or any creative pursuit. It's like there's some kind of joy that calls you to it, and keeping that at the front of what you do is not easy when you start going down the road. It's like it's wild how quick that is to kind of forget about.
Yeah.
Her mother's feet never left the ground, never dared to leave that little town. That's why she ain't afraid of looking down. But I bet it gets lonely up in the clouds. When you're barely hanging on, it's easy to let go and wait for the applause after the show. Turns out the fortune teller doesn't even know how to land the highs and make it through the lows. She's good at making herself smaller, good at flying, good at bending. Been pretending for so long she forgets that she's pretending, breaking herself into pieces that she's never gonna get back. There goes the acrobat.
I would love to hear about how music came into your life. I mean, I've read that you heard all kinds of different music as a child, just like a very wide spectrum of music, right? Were you hearing that around the house?
Yeah, actually, I picture it's kind of from the car. I think the music entered my life from the car speakers. I was like the kid in the back seat, very much dependent on who was driving and had control of the stereo or the radio and what we're listening to. And with my mom, it was a lot of powerhouse female voices. We would sing every word to Shania Twain and Celine Dion at the top of our lungs, driving around. And when I'd drive around with my dad, it was like a little more rock and roll. A little, still like folky storyteller rock and roll, though, like more U2 and Fleetwood Mac and that kind of era of things. And then with my grandparents, it was like the standards, like the classics would be, changing cassettes in their old motorhome from Elvis to Frank Sinatra to Reba to Dolly Parton. It was like, songs and true voices that had like a fingerprint to them where you could hear it and it was just undeniable in 0.2 of a second that you knew who it was. And I loved that, like studying those kind of voices in those classic songs and eras. And so, yeah, it was quite a collection of things, but I was such a fan of songs and of storytelling and music from a really young age. And I just kind of got the bug. I remember my first gig, I heard on the radio station driving home from school that there was like a festival in my hometown and the promoter was on the radio promoting it. And so I looked up his name in the phone book when I got home. I just like grabbed the cordless phone and called him. I was 10 and I was like, just in case you need another entertainer for this festival, I really love music. And, I got a few songs I could sing if you need. He was like laughing on the other end of the phone. But then he heard me sing the anthem at our hockey games. And he's like, are you the kid that called me? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, I think we need an anthem singer. Why don't you come out and sing the anthem? I was like, oh my gosh, best day of my life. I got to hold a cordless microphone. Like, this is a big deal. And then the next year he hired me to bring in that was my first full band gig. It was kind of from that. And so I always loved music. I loved the way it made people feel. And I kind of I was really drawn to that from a super young age.
Oh, that's so cool. I heard someone say one time, it's better to have a moment of embarrassment than a lifetime of regret.
Ooh, I love that.
And you just went for it.
Yeah, right? I don't know. I feel like right now, and I'd be like, oof, like there's more fear when you're old. I had no fear at all. I was just like, I mean, if he tells me no, no big deal. But I mean, I won't know unless I ask. It was like such a cool thing at that age.
That's such a cool thing. Now, it actually does lead me to something that I thought about as you were telling that story. It does kind of go hand in hand with the Bryan Adams thing, though, right?
That's true. So, yeah, that did come back around at a later time.
Number one, the duet is fantastic.
Thank you.
It's so good, and the two of you sing. I played it for my wife. We're big Bryan Adams fans. We've seen him many times in concerts. He's like... Cool. He's been one of my guys since I was a kid, and when you two sing together, it's like, it's like you sound like an extension of each other. I mean, it's really nice.
Thank you for that.
Really good.
Oh, that means the world, because I'm just obviously the biggest Bryan Adams fan ever. So it was so surreal and so cool to do that song with him.
So how did all of that happen?
Well, so I was recording this one song in Vancouver, and this project has, brought us to this spot that I didn't realize Bryan Adams was also in the building. And so as I was walking out of the lobby, I was like, he was walking up the staircase. It was like a classic movie meet cute. And I was just like, be cool. Like, he's walking close, and I was like, keep it together. I was like, I had no cool factor whatsoever. I was just like fangirling and like I telling him how much I appreciated his music and his path, especially as a fellow Canadian. And so we're standing there. We had this moment. He was very kind. We talked for a minute. And then my manager and I were standing in the parking lot waiting for the Uber. And I just kind of like had this declare to the sky moment where I was like, how cool would it be to sing a song with Bryan Adams one day? And just sort of said it out loud, and I loved how it sounded, and I was just like, okay, I couldn't quit thinking about it. So a couple weeks went by, and I was in the studio with my band recording a song, and we had a little bit of time left at the end. I was like, I want to record a version of this song that I wrote, because something about it I thought Bryan's voice would sound so cool on it. So we recorded the song. I wrote him a letter by hand, and then I burned this song onto a CD disc. I went old school, and I sent him, I laughed at myself at the FedEx counter in Nashville, sending it to the physical address of where I ran into him at, still hoping he was working there. I had no personal contact to him at all. I just sent it to that address and just, thought I'd throw it out there, and who knows what happens. And within, I think I paid the $65 overnight for this envelope, and it was the best $65 I ever spent, because he got the package the next day, and I'd put my email address at the bottom. And he emailed me and was like, I love this song, and I'd absolutely love to sing it with you. And I was like, are you kidding me? How does this happen? So I always say that before I play the song in the show. I'm like, if anyone is looking for a sign to just do the crazy thing and take the shot and kind of don't care how it ends up turning out, let this be your sign to do it, because you never know what might happen. And I'm so glad the song is out in the world, and it was just one of those moments that I'll cherish my whole life. I'm getting to work with him on the song. He ended up shooting the music video for it, and getting to know him while we edited it together, and just sharing stories and insight and wisdom from all of his incredible experiences, and also just kind of getting a friend through that. Somebody who's like, I've been there. I know what you're going through. Keep going. It's he's been wonderful. It's
amazing. What a fantastic story. and just the result of you just having the courage to say, hey, why not? Right.
Sometimes you just got to go for it. Some days that feels easier to do than others, when you're just kind of floating on air. It's I just met him and I was like, I'm just going to take the shot, and you got to follow those feelings. You got to do it.
Yeah, that's amazing.
You're a passing car on a one-way street. Headed straight through the red lights where midnight and high
mentioned Canada, and I would love to know just about what the landscape, the geography means to you as a songwriter. Do you ever write? Do you ever use that as a lens that by which you write through? Is the geography of where you grew up?
That's such an interesting question. I actually do kind of think about this. In my mind, this would be framed under the conversation of we lived a little bit out of town, kind of near this lake, and I used to go for walks down our driveway, which was super long, and sometimes I'd ride my bike. But I remember being a kid and like, you know, when the sky is so blue, like you look up and you can almost see the particles moving. Like there's like so much space. It's like it's just blue. Like there was just so much room to kind of dream and imagine being whatever you wanted to be. And like that was the landscape that shaped my perspective of kind of making anything happen. And so I feel like that there's an openness to that, like the open sky feeling, open arms. Like I think of my community that I grew up around that was super supportive of each other. And like we're always playing like fundraisers and different things where people were just kind of showing up for one another. And I kind of always held on to that belief that you can kind of create that wherever you go. And I think that's really shaped a lot of my dream as well, as far as the landscape goes. We have this town that's not far from where I grew up. My town's called Grand Prairie. So it's literally just big prairies, open skies. And there's a town nearby called Peace River. And there's this river that's called the Peace River that just runs through. And I don't know, whenever I think about taking home with you, like the feeling of home, not even so much the location, I think about the landscape of that.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Excuse me, sorry.
That's okay.
I need to drink water.
Yeah, I think about those. You're right.
Sorry. I'm so sorry.
Go for
I'm
it.
gonna go grab a water.
Believe me,
I'm
going to go for it. Yeah, totally good.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Okay.
Believe me, I have to say that I've had that happen to me on here at least 10 to 20 times is quite an understatement.
Well, that makes me feel better. All right.
Yes.
Post intermission, round 2 here. I'm hydrated and ready.
So we were talking about the beautiful landscape. I was so curious about that, just about that part of the world. You know, I mean, we're talking about Nashville and traffic and busy life and everything. You know, just the slow pace of life and all of that. I would imagine that would be certainly a lens that you would look through or to think back as you become a songwriter and just think about those images, the imagery by which you would write those songs.
Absolutely. I mean, that's kind of that thing where there's nothing flawless about a home situation. Nothing is ever perfect, you know? It's like there's always complicated emotions involved with all of that, but like there is this sensation of there's no place like home. That kind of, I think it's just sort of part of your fingerprint as a human. It's like the first introduction to the world of whatever that lens was. That's kind of something that I think as a writer of any kind, you're always kind of going to be running back to. I think there's a feeling that's going to show up always. I love that, like noticing that in other people's writing. I always study Bruce Springsteen songs, and it's like, you can see the Catholic Church across from the thing, and it's just like such a tangible feeling of being in New Jersey. It's just like undeniable in that writing. And I think about that with Dolly Parton. It's like she sings the Smoky Mountain home, you know, and you're just like, even whatever your image of home is, you can kind of see it in those songs. Like you picture your own backyard and what that is. And I love that about music. It kind of just holds the door open for the feeling, and you can kind of paint in the picture for what you need. And I think that's part of our job as a writer, is to set up that feeling of home for anybody listening.
Oh, I agree. The thing I as you were talking about Dolly and Springsteen, which you could look at it and say, wow, they're like on two opposite ends of the spectrum, but not. I think at the same time, they're so similar in that there's so much complexity, yet so much simplicity in the way that both of them write songs. That's so beautiful.
I agree.
I love that about both of them.
Yeah. It's open. There's room to see your own story in their songs.
Yeah, absolutely. I was looking at your calendar, looking at the 2026. You have a busy schedule coming up. You excited?
Yes, I'm so excited. I love being on the road so much. I love getting to talk to people after shows and all of those things. And so I'm just excited to get back out there. There's nothing like live music. It's a sacred two-way experience like to me it's like picturing everyone has a different movie playing in their head when they're hearing a song, but like the feeling, that thread running through the room is the same, and there's such a common ground that comes from that, and I love that about live music. So I'm really excited. We're heading out on this tour called the Living Room Tour, and I'm actually packing up my trailer right now. I've got like a couch in there and some lamps and a whole little living room set that I'm bringing. And it's going to be really casual shows with these audiences. We're going to kind of build the shows together and let it be a living, breathing thing. And I'll get to tell lots of stories and play these songs that we've kind of built together through the years as this community, but we're really just taking it back to a girl and her guitar. It's going back to the beginning. So I'm really excited for these.
Oh, that's amazing. I saw that you're playing Eddie's Attic in Atlanta, Georgia, and I've played there many, many times over the years. And I don't know if you've ever played there, but they are going to love you.
Oh, I
So
haven't,
get
but I'm
ready.
really excited. Okay, that's so cool to hear. So you had like great experiences there.
Oh yeah, the audience comes to be, they want to hear a story.
I love
They are just going to, they're just going to hold you up and
Mm.
support you the entire time you're on stage. So yeah, it's a wonderful place.
I'm so excited for that. That's really, thank you for saying that. That's okay. Now I'm feeling better. It's going to be good.
Yeah, it's going to be great. I wanted to ask too. I feel like this is a little bit like career retrospective conversation, but I have so many things that you've done, so many incredibly cool things so far that I just wanted to chat with you about this Big Hearts for Big Kids. How amazing. What gave you the inspiration to start this? And like, it's raised over $2 million at this point. It's incredible.
Crazy. Thank you for saying that, for asking about this. Is my favorite thing to talk about. But so my mom came home from like a ladies, I don't know, some kind of dinner thing, this fundraiser event, and there was a pamphlet that was on the table at all of these that was about the Sunrise House. And I was like, I think it was in 8th grade, and I was like, what is this Sunrise House? And so I'm reading this pamphlet that talked about kids who were my age in my own small town who were struggling with homelessness and who were like not sleeping in their own beds every night. And I was like, wait, this exists here? Like, to think about, I don't know, my brain went to like kids without a safe place to sleep. It's like you immediately think overseas or it's like somewhere so far away. But to know that that's something that happens in every community, there's like that exists and is a real thing that we need resources and support for. And like, I just couldn't believe that there were kids my age in my own hometown experiencing that. And so we kind of, I wanted to just plan a concert to do like a little benefit for it. And so initially we were going to set up the chairs in our backyard and have people bring supplies. And my parents were like, maybe we should rent a hall, like maybe we should get like a little venue. And so we decked out this hall. My mom would take me after school with a sponsor letter I'd typed up. And I just went and asked people if they'd want to come to this. And like, would you want to get a table? Do you have a silent auction item you could bring? And like, we had no idea what we were doing and throwing a fundraiser, but we just kind of figured it out as we went. And it was amazing how many people said yes. They were like, yeah, we'll come. We'll be there. We'll show up. And the night of our first event, the shelter director came to me in tears and he was just like, I'm so sorry, but we had to close our doors this morning. Like, we are tapped out of funds. It's over. And we kind of had this moment of looking at each other like, okay, this event is even more necessary than it's ever been. And so we carried forward with it. And that night I watched what happens when a group of people who believe in something come together. And like, we raised over $30,000 and we helped get the place back up and running. And I was just like, that was the first moment in my life where I was like, if this is what music can do, then I'm in. Like, this is it. This is awesome. And so we kept that going every year. I thought initially we'd do it for 3 years, and we helped the place get through some renovations to like be in a better financial place. And then after 3 years, all of the supporters were like, when's the date next year? And so we just kind of kept it going. And over 13 years, they just moved into a brand new building 2 years ago that holds like 3 times the kids that they were able to take in before, and has like an upstairs floor now with like rental units where kids can kind of graduate to learning what it's like to pay rent and and having the resources and support to keep their jobs, and then eventually being able to move out of there entirely. And so it's a really awesome system, and I'm so proud of my community for really believing in the shelter, and just have learned so much about the power of people coming together that I really love.
That's so beautiful.
Thanks.
And just so another incredible example of you just going for it and having the courage to just go for
you gotta
it.
just do it.
I mean, all of these amazing things that you've done so far, and a lot of it's coming from you just saying, yeah, I'm going to go for it. Why not? And look what, look at this. Look what happens.
So crazy.
Yeah.
It's still shocking to me. I'll be like, wow, this is possible. Like it's so, it's kind of intoxicating. It just kind of, once you gamble on something and it starts to like, be like, well, that was fun. Then you're just like, what else can we take a shot on?
Yeah.
Just keep it
Well,
going.
and I would imagine that doing something like that would have a more grounding, successful feeling than any milestones or recognition could ever do.
Absolutely. It's like, that's the heart of the mission for me. It's like, if we're helping people, if we're making somebody feel a little less alone, then that's mission accomplished to me. That's about as good as it gets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. All right, before we go, let's talk a little bit more about this new album.
Okay.
So it's releasing April 10th, The Acrobat.
Yeah.
So is that the second single? Was that the second single from the...
That's right.
Yeah, fantastic. And it's a duet, right?
It is, with one of my songwriting heroes, Lori McKenna, who I love so much. That was such a crazy full circle for me because I had seen her play at the Bluebird when I first got to town, and I was just like, that just set the bar for me for writing. And so it's really surreal to get to create songs with her now and call her a friend. And I was working on this record and hearing this song, and like there's a line that talks about the fortune teller, and I was like, you have to come in and sing and you're like my wisdom fortune teller of songwriting. So I'm so happy this song is out there.
Yeah, it's fantastic song. I'm just ready. I'm ready to hear the rest of the album. I'm
good.
Like, hurry up. I'm ready.
Me too. I'm so
out.
excited for it to be out. So thank you for talking about it and connecting to these songs and sharing. I really appreciate you a whole lot.
Yeah. I've really enjoyed just hanging out.
Yeah.
Talking with you.
It's so nice to catch up. I love that. Yeah, you're so easy to talk to, and what a great conversation. Thank you for caring about humanity the way you do. It's awesome.
Yeah, well, just best of luck with the album and with the upcoming tour, and bring the music to the people in person, which is just amazing. Yeah,
thank you.
And just hopefully I will see you in person and can hear these songs live.
I would love that. We got to cross paths and jam and do all the things. And please come. Yes. You're welcome to come to a show anytime. I'd absolutely love that. Absolutely. Well, best of luck, and just thanks for what you do. Thank you. Thanks for saying that, and thanks for what you do. Thanks for holding up a flashlight. I appreciate you a lot, and I look forward to crossing paths.
Yes, absolutely. If you enjoyed this conversation, please follow or subscribe to the Bandwich Tapes wherever you listen, and consider leaving a rating or review. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time.